Let's for the uneducated,
Mhm.
I guess would be the best way to say this. Can you give the Brian Tripp definition of the pairwise and how that works? How would you explain that to somebody that's listening to one of your broadcasts that's tuning in just because they kind of understand hockey?
So hockey's postseason, just like the old BCS, it's all a statistical model. There is a committee, but that's just to place the teams that are in the top 16 of the pairwise at the end of the regular season, at the end of the conference tournaments, place them in the tournament field. So of the conferences, every conference tournament champion gets an automatic bid. And then, if they're outside the top 16, that means that field then gets cut to 15 or 14 or 13. And this year, Hockey East has so many teams in there, but you're looking at Atlantic Hockey, you're looking at the ECAC and the CCHA right now, probably all having teams from outside the guaranteed at large field taking spots for the postseason. So you need to be in the top 16 to give yourself a chance. And then you're also rooting for teams in the top 16 to win their conference tournaments, or else that field shrinks. So it's a statistical model that's actually a head to head comparison of every result of teams played throughout the course of the season. Ultimately, non conference winning percentage is critical. Critical. Winning game, it's not so much who you beat, it's just how many teams you beat because it's based on head to head competition, a measure of wins against the opponent. And then the second thing is kind of like an RPI strength of schedule. And essentially, it's a statistical model that ranks based on who you played and if you beat them, ranks the top, all 64 teams in college hockey. And the goal is at the end of the year to be in the top 16, top 15, top 14 to get yourself into the tournament. It's a lot more complicated than that explanation, but also it's not something like it truly is just like a BCS metric measure the team. But the part people don't realize, it's not an RPI, it's not a strength of schedule. It is literally a head to head comparison of every team. And that's how the ranking, it's called the pairwise comparison. And that's how the ranking gets established. How they come up with that comparison, I have no idea. But I just know that's what it is.
As a media member,
Yeah.
so does it bother you that much of what is talked about publicly is the voting ranking as opposed to the pairwise?
The voting ranking means absolutely nothing.
Okay, thank you.
Like we'll use it on the broadcast, but once you get to February, I pretty much just care about what that pairwise number is. I mean, it's still cool to go on the road and beat number one, but Michigan State was two in the pairwise, and I knew the implications of beating the number two team on the pairwise in the pairwise on the road. Um, I think sports are about perception. I think rankings are about perception, and you always want to have a positive perception of your program. So I think rankings do matter no matter what sport it is. I think preseason rankings matter because it helps, it's not going to help you qualify for the postseason in college hockey. But in any sport that ranking, that poll matters. But as we know, right, oftentimes that's just an SID, director of operations. It could be anyone on staff just filing that vote. So I don't know that it bothers me, but I wish there's probably a greater education of the implications of the pairwise versus that, USCHO or the USA Today Rank Live poll.
See, this is exactly why we have you on 3 times so that you can spread your gospel there.